Welcome to Unseen to Unstoppable, the podcast where we spotlight the voices that are reshaping the industries, communities, and lives with courage and authenticity. Today's guest, Kaitlyn Kenealy, is a licensed psychotherapist, international best-selling author, and CEO of Into the Woods Wellness. Known for her raw honesty and compassionate approach, she helps others navigate trauma, anxiety, and the messiness of healing. Through her storytelling, speaking, and integrated care, it empowers people to live with intention and heart. With clinical expertise rooted in radical compassion and a holistic model that's transforming the way we approach mental well-being, Kaitlyn is boldly building what she calls an ecosystem of wellness. And with 96% client retention rate, her impact speaks for itself. In this episode, we'll explore Kaitlyn's personal and professional transformation, the power of showing up authentically, and how she's helping others rise from the deepest pain with clarity, resilience, and purpose. So let's step into the woods and then to a conversation that's real as it is revolutionary. Kaitlyn, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's been a long time coming. You and I connected so long ago. It was doing the Everyday Woman contest.
Yes, absolutely. It has been a bit, but I love that it's coming back full circle, and I really feel honored to be here. So thank you.
Well, thank you too. I'm always impressed with your story. And when we finally got to catch up and talk and everything, it was just amazing to connect with you. And so I've always remembered that energy about you. And so I've always wanted to do things with you. And hopefully, I know I see you on Instagram posting and you're so busy, you're doing this, doing that, but hopefully we can recircle back to visiting some of those things we talked about, maybe collaborating on. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I would love that.
So let's get into it.
Okay.
Massive bio here. It says your journey from historian and women's studies scholar to award-winning author and mental health innovator is incredibly unique, by the way.
Thank
What
you.
moment or experience made you realize this was your path?
Well, there has been no direct path. I should say that. I would say that I have always been very heart-centered and listening to my intuition. So I just came up with this, well, this was back in the day, I should say, came up with this philosophy that if I followed my heart and I followed my passion, but I built my resume around it, that I would succeed. And that's always what I have done. Just kind of listen to my intuition. What felt good? This aligns with like my morals and my values, even though there has been no direct path. But that's why I think I've been able to kind of blaze those different trails, is really by honoring myself and listening. So that's how I'd answer that question.
That is amazing. And I hope I don't offend by talking about how young you are, because, women of my age, we're still struggling with the whole listening to the intuition. I've interviewed several women prior to you, and that's one of the things that has come up. That, and in fact, I had a coach that helps people develop that, listening to that inner voice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my undergrad history major, women's studies minor, my first master's degree, gender and women's studies, and then my second master's degree, community and mental health counseling. Not exactly leading the nation in jobs, right? But again, I just thought if I followed and I did everything that aligned with my morals and my values, and I built my resume around that, that I would succeed. And I think all of that's kind of coming to fruition now. So it's not easy though. I mean, it sounds easy. Oh yes, just listen to yourself. But it is a very lonely path, especially when other people haven't carved it and you don't necessarily know. But again, every decision was, does this align? And the majority of the time it has. So that's what I've done.
Now you've got the book. Okay. I'm the book. I'm gonna let you introduce it and tell us the name, but what inspired you to write it? And what has been the most surprising reaction you've received from readers?
Yeah. So my first book is called Healing is Messy AF. Hopefully everybody knows what AF means. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
I was like, I'm gonna let her introduce that.
It's a workbook about investing in yourself. So it's different mental health topics intertwined with my clinical experience, my personal experience, patient's experience, and gives you tangible and practical things that you could work on at home. So as far as the inspiration behind it, during my first master's program, I took an autobiographical class and I was just like, I have to write a book someday. I feel like I stopped and started a bunch of different times. But finally, as I got into the mental health field, I was like, if we can't get people into the office, right? If I can't get them into my four walls because of the stigma and all those other reasons, can I create something that's vibrant, that has an appealing cover and a catchy title, and gives them tangible and practical things that they could do at home? It could sit on your coffee table, is kind of what I saw, and people sit around and talk about it. So that was the inspiration. And then it also happened to be COVID during this time. So it was like kind of the perfect storm of creating it. And it has been extremely successful. And I'm currently in production of my second book, which will be out later this year. But I would say one of the most surprising things is I didn't realize how often I would have to describe the title, what AF meant. I never thought of that. Like, out of everything that you think about with a book, I mean, it's an extremely complex process. So that would be it. But that would be the first thing. But as far as how it has affected other people, the book itself is kind of, it's pink and black. And so the pink is kind of lighter topics, and then the black topics are a little bit darker, right? So that we can have that contrast between some things are a little lighter, some things are a little heavier or deeper. And I would say, obviously, the deeper topics have resonated with people. And when they tell me, their personal story off of mine, or what this chapter meant to them, or that it made them cry. I had a gentleman tell me he cried the whole time on an airplane reading it. I mean, that's the stuff that really sticks with you.
That is amazing. I don't want to like do gender thing, but we do an article in my magazine New League for men about that, because do men cry? But I just want to say, without being gender specific, that right there means something, that a man could even tell you that
Yeah.
that's what he did and that he had that reaction, because there is this stigma that men don't cry, and even for themselves they feel like they're not supposed to cry or whatever. So that
Yeah.
speaks volumes right there,
Mm-hmm.
that he even
Yeah.
told you that was his reaction. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I thought the same thing. So that's the stuff that always sticks out to me. You never know, because there were so many different topics in it too. I didn't know what was going to resonate or different things like that. And so yeah, it's been a really amazing process, and it's touched so many people's lives. And I don't know, it just doesn't get any better than that.
I heard you say, because I heard you now, I heard you say, and you stressed it, it's been extremely successful. Go ahead, Kaitlyn. Tell us the whys, how it's been. Give us some numbers. Tell us how it's been
Well,
extremely
it has
successful.
won 10 awards and an international award, so I'm very, very proud of that. And like I said, it's just been so many different people from all over the globe just saying this book really resonated. Here's why. And so it just makes my heart so happy, because truthfully, after losing my brother, I wasn't going to produce the book. So I was going through an extreme trauma. And so the book is really a way to honor him. And it just kind of keeps getting better and better with that. So, yeah.
Beautiful. You did tell me about your brother when we talked.
Yeah.
So, as someone who blends clinical therapy with holistic wellness
Yeah.
practices, what role do you believe non-traditional approaches like nutrition and mindfulness play in lasting mental health transformation?
Well, it is so needed. And truthfully, we're so behind the dial when it comes to mental health. Prevention is key. All of those components are key. And so that's why I'm so excited to be finally in this new role as CEO of Into the Woods Wellness, where we're treating all of it. We're not just treating parts, right? The current system that's in place, or the different institutions, treat one thing, right? And it's typically take this, and not necessarily looking at how much is your water intake, how are you eating, how are you breathing, what is kind of going on internally. And so to me, the holistic approach is the key until we can fully move towards prevention.
Now, let me back up just one second. I failed to ask this, and then we'll get into your ecosystem that we mentioned in the intro. What are some of those topics in your book? You said the pink is lighter, black is darker topics. What are some of the topics?
Yeah, so the pink topics would be self care, the positive coping chapters. The darker topics would be the trauma, the anxiety, the sexual assault chapter. So that's kind of how it's split up. And so I wanted for people to be kind of on a journey just because mental health is the journey. And so the chapters kind of go flow with that.
It's important. I wanted you to bring that out because these podcasts, we're always hoping that whoever's listening, there'll be that one person that it helps. So that's why I wanted you to bring those out. So thank you
Of
for that. I'm
course.
sorry that
Of
I
course.
forgot to mention that. That's an
No
important part.
problem.
Okay, so now you're building an ecosystem of wellness at Into the Woods Wellness. What does that ecosystem look like in action for a new client walking through your doors?
Yeah. So when they walk in, it is very warm. It is inviting. Everybody on the staff really feels like family. I love that they know everybody by name when they walk into the door. Whether you're looking for a massage, you're looking for nutrition, we have a program around that. Whether you're looking for mental health, the physical, the yoga, our support groups, our classes, a foot detox, salt booth, sauna. I mean, you kind of name it, we have it all going on right now. And so it's really sitting down with people. We offer a free consultation and really try to listen to what they have to say and then customize their treatment towards that. So treating again the whole, but depending on where they want to start.
Now, do we have to be residents of that building, or can we get some virtual online stuff?
Yes. So at the current moment, it is basically in house, but with us on board and as we are expanding and as we are growing, the hope is to move into that virtual component as well. So it is in the works. So that is a very good question.
So good to know. Kudos on that. Good to know. Good to know.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, with a strong trauma informed foundation, how do you create a safe space for people who've historically felt unseen or silenced in clinical settings?
Yeah, so that's where the compassionate care, the listening really comes into play. But I tell everybody that I work with is, especially with the mental health piece, I'm going to use evidence based approaches, right? I list what those are. But I truthfully believe in just having honest conversations. So the more honest we can be with each other, the better we're going to be able to kind of dig through what's happening and create that customized plan. And then I also say, but even if we create this and it's not working, let me know. Right. And so I really try to mirror that and show that is that let's have those honest conversations. Hey, Kaitlyn, I started this and I'm not really enjoying it. Okay, can we try it for a few more sessions or can we adjust this? And really, really listening to people because clinically, I mean, literally just on Friday, a woman came in for therapy and was super frustrated with a doctor that continues to not listen to them and they have to push and push and push and push and that gets exhausting,
Hmm.
right? And so
Yeah.
I want to eliminate that as best I can, do the best I can, and then just be there for that journey.
Is that, do you think? I've got I have two questions.
Yeah.
Part of me, I got a head trauma, so I might forget. So one
Yeah.
is, how do we get to the honesty, as in, because it may be hard for someone to be honest, because I
Yeah.
just feel like we're generally fake. I don't know why, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. And then number two, why is it for people going, nothing against doctors, but why is it like that for people going to doctors? Why? I asked another lady that she's a clinical
Yeah.
in a clinical field, and I had to ask her the same thing. So those are my two questions.
Well, I think the way that the institutions are set up, right, is that you barely have time with that person, right? I can sit down with someone for a while, but they are so regimented and have to get to the next person. I think it's just
Pause that. Pause that. Did you talk to her because she gave me the same exact answer?
really? Oh no, no.
Are you
Honestly.
two? Are you two in cahoots?
And so I honestly think that it's like they're doing the best they can. Imagine you have 10 to 15 minutes and you're like, nope, on to the next. And I think if they actually took the time and dove deeper, right, then they wouldn't be hitting their numbers or this or that. I just think that the way that the systems are set up, it doesn't even have room for customization. So it's just kind of like getting your car washed is the way that I think about it. And then sometimes, like for this particular woman, they feel potentially offended that somebody else is advocating for themselves. And so I don't know. I just don't think the system is conducive for custom because that would require extra work and time. And it feels more like profit than it is
It
about
does.
taking, yeah, right. And then taking
Right.
care of the person, then taking care of the whole.
Because for me, I get frustrated. And again, my short-term memory, so I'm trying to cut you off, but I get frustrated too because of the copay, how the copays work. You pay to go to the general, whatever, however you say it. There's that one copay.
Yep.
But then you have a higher copay for a specialist, but then you don't get to see the specialist. And nothing
Yeah.
against anybody's degree, but then you got to see the lesser person,
Yeah.
but then you pay and I don't understand it, and I don't know who to ask. Not that I probably fall on deaf ears anyway, so I don't say anything. But it's like,
Yep.
so there's that, and then the other thing that used to get on my nerves. I had this one doctor; her back was turned to me the entire time, and she's clicking on the computer thing. So I guess she's typing and everything I'm saying, and then this printout comes out, and this is my diagnosis.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's so impersonal, right? And so the hard work is sitting with somebody, really trying to figure it out, be with them, and not just give the band aid answer or here's this, take this pill. It's all very band aid. And so what we try to do is get to the root cause. And that takes a lot more time, but it's obviously worth it in the long run.
I remember my brain must be getting better. Let's get back to the honest conversations. That was my other
Sure.
question that I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about. Like, how do we get there?
Yeah, I mean, it's always just been my philosophy. I want to just get straight to the point. I am solution focused. I am person centered. I'm not about the fluff. That's just my style. So to me, it comes very naturally. Again, here's what it is. How can we work within this? So again, I don't know if it's a personality trait, but for people that it might not come naturally to, I would just ask them to think about what would they want from somebody else, right? And the majority of the time, people want somebody that's going to be honest. And so if they could practice that a little bit more. So that's how I would answer that.
And I think you probably answered this question because it's you. You're the reason that you've got this impressive 96% retention rate. What's the secret to creating that kind of client loyalty and trust? Because that's the reason that there's a trust in order for people to get to that honest conversation. So what's creating behind that client loyalty trust in the field where people often give up on therapy?
No, I definitely. And so the one thing I do is the first thing I do is offer a free consultation. They can come in, they can meet me, we can do it over Zoom or over the phone. And it's just a nice way to kind of get to know one another, answer any questions that they might have then and there about myself, about the process, cash pay versus insurance, what they're looking for. And I really allow them to pick. Okay. So I give them a choice instead of where an insurance company is saying you have to go to this institution, this is covered. Do you get what I'm saying? So, one, I think they get a choice. And then the second is I am consistent and my bare minimum is to show up. The only way I don't show up for an appointment is if I'm sick or something with my family members come up. So those are like my two things. And so I think I really set the tone for my office, for my patients, and those would be my two ingredients. And then beyond that, trying to customize that treatment and also, practicing what I preach. So that to me is how I've been able to maintain that 96% retention rate across 5 years. And I'm really, really proud of that.
That's why you've won all these awards and you were recognized with awards like Trailblazer. Come on, Trailblazer of the Year and
Yeah.
top psychotherapist. How do you stay grounded while leading in such a high impact and emotionally intense space?
So that's a really good question. I really think it was how I grew up. I grew up with a single mom, 4 kids, and she worked so hard and went to work every single day. And I remember this moment of being like, I wanted to stay home from school and I was like begging my mom. And she was like, Kaitlyn, I have to go to work because I have to keep a roof over our head. And I just remember thinking, like, what a responsibility. And it has made me a very humble individual. And no matter what successes come at me and awards I win, it all feels good. And don't get me wrong, I do love it. But staying grounded and knowing the struggle because I lived it and just never forgetting that. So I just try not to take any of it for granted.
Just to your mom.
Hmm.
That was hard for her.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Who wouldn't want to stay home with their baby?
Well,
You're like, next question.
wait, do we want to go there? How there's some people who've had children that shouldn't have had children?
We'll save that for a different one.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But just all positive vibes in this conversation. We're not going to be
Yes.
negative in this one. But what I want
Yeah.
to say is, she had to be honest with you. That's what I was saying to you in the lobby about, how I talk with my grandkids and things like that. She told you the truth. Like, look,
Yeah.
Kaitlyn, I've got to, and that's what somebody might think. Oh, why say that? But that's the truth. You need to start saying that to your child. And she told you the truth. Of, look, this is how I keep a roof over your head.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't take for granted, I think it is an honor and it's a privilege when people share their stories with me. I really try to stay humble and recognize that it takes so much effort to pick up that phone, to walk through that door, to meet with me, to be honest with me, to do those things. So I really try to embody that and not forget that.
In a world where burnt out is rampant, okay. I went to a doctor one day and I forget what was going on. And she said she had just had a conversation with her staff and she said, everyone is in constant road rage,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But anyway, so in a world where burnout is rampant, especially in service driven fields, how do you practice wellness as a mental health leader and CEO?
Well, I would say the first thing I would say is that my writing has really saved me. Narrative therapy is amazing, and still pen to paper is one of the most effective modalities, even with all this technology. So again, practicing what I preach in the sense of I will write, I will journal, I will do what I need to do. I don't ask patients to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. And it's really about having good boundaries and values and really standing on those, prioritizing the time for patients, and then really taking that time to recharge. I definitely, as I've progressed throughout the years and grown, need more of that time alone to kind of recharge. And so for me, it's standing on those values, being consistent, practicing what I'm preaching. And if I need a day or two in between, it's planning that, right? And then really rejuvenating.
And so you're protecting your own mental health and
Yes.
wellness. You know what I mean? Like to me, it just makes sense, but I guess it's so simple. It doesn't make sense sometimes, but that's what you're doing. You're protecting your own mental health.
Yes. And I always knew I was going to get into private practice because I learned a lot in all different institutions, had great supervisors over the years. And, but that system was never meant for me. And I just knew it. And so being in private practice, you have a little bit more freedom and flexibility to do some of those things and prioritize. Whereas I think in some institutions, I think you kind of get caught up in some of those dynamics. So I definitely understand it can be harder for other people. But again, what are your values and what do you want to stand on, and what type of clinician or provider do you want to be, and then go and be that.
But you said a few minutes ago about how you would never ask your client to do something that you wouldn't do yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Good for you. I don't know if I told you this part in our personal conversations, but I wasn't always in this business marketing. I started out in operations management
Okay. Yeah.
and that's a burnout job right there.
Yeah.
I couldn't be in that job right now, I'm telling you. But anyhow, I was in operations management for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how I showed up. It was like, if I'm not willing to do something, I can't expect somebody else to come in here and do it. And I know other people, there's other management styles or whatever, but that's
Mm-hmm.
just what worked for me. Even now, I do the same thing. If I'm not willing to do it, I can expect somebody else to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And, when you can follow your passion, your mission, and purpose, I know that's hard to find, but that will help you not be burnt out. I love what I do. I'm extremely passionate about it, but it's not been an easy road to get here. Like I said, it's not a linear path. No one has paved this for me. I have just been doing it kind of all on my own. And I think what I don't like when I hear is people say that burnout is on the person, and, systems say that the person has to fix that. And I understand that, but look at the institution first and how are they, playing a role in why you are burnt out. So that's what I try to work with people on who come to me for those types of situations.
But there it is again, one of the conversations we talked about. It's people not wanting to take responsibility and putting the ball back in your court.
Yeah.
What I said? Yeah, it's our secret, but I'm just saying.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness. If you could change one misconception people have about trauma, recovery, or mental health care, what would it be and why?
I feel like it's not only just the stigma, but I feel like when they think about those topics, they think about that's other people. That's not us. That's them. And what I would really love to change is that this is all of us, right? And that we're all experiencing something. It may be on different variations or different levels, but we are truthfully all in this together. And the more healing that we could do, the better we would. And so that to me would just be huge.
I'm writing something down because I want to remember to say this. When you say all of us, I know you had a different approach, but for me, when you said all of us, I wrote down owning our own actions. I think that we go through life saying and doing things without taking responsibility of how our mouth
Yeah.
and the things we say affect other people, and then it becomes that person's problem. They're the emotionally unstable one, but yet you chose to say that to that person.
Yep. Yep.
Why are you giggling? Just
No, it makes sense. Absolutely.
okay. We're gonna wrap this up by
Okay.
asking you. I ask this question to everybody: what's your favorite quote, and how does it guide or reflect your journey today?
There's so many, but the one that really rings in my mind is people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Didn't I just say that?
Yeah,
Okay,
you and Maya Angelou.
is that why you were giggling?
Yeah. Yeah, actually you did.
I mean, that's why I feel like it's all our problem because, in that sense, how we navigate through life and treat others. That's how I feel. We don't take responsibility for that. That's just me. I don't know. But
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
I have enjoyed this. Like I said, it's been a long time coming, very enlightening. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
And to our audience, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Unseen to Unstoppable. If today's conversation moved you, inspired you, or made you feel seen, don't keep it to yourself. Like, follow, share, or send this episode to someone who needs it. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or hit that download button so that you never miss an episode. For more behind the scenes content, upcoming guests, and real talk, follow us on social media at Unseen to Unstoppable. That's Unseen, the number 2, Unstoppable. Until next time, stay bold, stay real, keep rising. You're not just unstoppable, you're unforgettable. I'm Eileen Carroll, and this has been Unseen to Unstoppable.